Tonight, a plane forced to make an emergency landing at Port Lincoln Airport. And construction of Whyallah's new public high school gets underway.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, everyone. There was a mid-flight scare above Port Lincoln yesterday after a small aircraft reported a landing gear failure. Emergency services rushed to the airport as the pilot tried to land the plane safely. Nathan Regter has more.
The alarm was raised just after 9 yesterday morning after a twin-engine aircraft reported that its nose landing gear had failed to lock into position. Emergency services rushed to the airstrip and were on standby as the pilot tried to land the plane safely.
I think it was mainly he did a couple of runs to just have a bit of a trial run and see if he could get the wheel to lock in.
After circling Port Lincoln Airport, the pilot, who was the only person on board, took the aircraft around before he lined it up with the runway and brought it down safely. The plane landed after bumping along the runway before coming to a stop. Airport staff and emergency services quickly rushed to the scene.
Just talking to the pilot, and he said as he touched down he felt the front wheel lock on and he had a green light after that, so he knew he was fairly safe.
The pilot was able to get out of the aircraft safely before inspecting the front wheel. No major damage was found. It's understood the aircraft was delivering mail.
It's got parcels and stuff, and I think it flies around all Air Peninsula and goes back to Adelaide, I guess.
An investigation is now underway to determine what caused the failure, authorities praising the pilot's skills in avoiding what could have been a very different outcome.
Broken Hill police are continuing to investigate an apparent shooting of a home in Wolfram Lane. Officers say they may have to send the projectile to Sydney for forensic testing.
Frightening pictures of what appears to be a bullet hole in a Silver City home.
We don't see this sort of thing at all in Broken Hill, and I think it's probably just a one-off, and we're hoping that it's just a one-off.
On Saturday, the owner of the Wolfram Lane property found a hole in one of the external walls. Further inspection found there was another hole in the wall inside the home as well.
On the other side of that wall is his bedroom, or is a bedroom, and there was some sort of pellet or a slug or something on the ground in that room.
Police detectives and forensics arrived shortly after, commencing an investigation. Officers saying no one currently lives in the house. The owner had been renovating it.
Inquiries are continuing to try and identify the projectile and possibly identify an offender.
The owner did not wish to appear on camera today, but told 7 Spencer Golf News that it was very frightening discovering the bullet holes and the projectile.
So any time over the last 6 weeks is when it's happened, and we're just asking residents that might be in the area they heard something, a loud bang or a noise. They might have thought it was firecrackers at the time.
Anyone with information that could help police with their investigation should contact Crime Stoppers. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Construction of Whyallah's $100 million new high school has begun, with students expected to move there in 2022. A small groundbreaking ceremony was held this morning to commemorate the project, which is set to boost jobs.
Digging the pathway for a better student learning facility. This construction, the start of a big venture for Whyallah.
Fantastic here today to be doing the official sod turning for a $100 million brand new state-of-the-art high school in Whyallah.
This has been a long time coming. There's been multiple education department reviews over decades in Whyallah, and eventually they got it right. 1,500
years 7 to 12 students will benefit, with more than 1,200 jobs on offer over the course of the project. 240 of them will be brand new full-time positions.
This is going to be fantastic in 2022 when the new school is open. It's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. It's going to be a fantastic learning opportunity for the students, but also a great work environment for the staff as well.
It will contribute to the local Whyallah economy enormously, and also very positive, strong contribution from the steelworks. 650 tonnes, 80% of the steel that goes into this school will come from the Whyallah steelworks.
Sarah Constructions working with local companies, maximising local job employment throughout each process.
So what's happening at the moment is we're clearing the site and establishing our base course ready to start construction of the foundations. And the project's moving along really, really well.
Principals encourage parents to start the conversation with their children about this new school, its brand new facilities and the opportunities it will offer.
If you're a child in Whyalla, you're hearing a whole lot of people today talk about what's happening here, and they're talking about your school. This is a school that we're building for you.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Over 1,000 small businesses around the state will see a one-time emergency cash grant this week. $10,000 will be put into the pockets of those hit hardest by the COVID-19 restrictions. The funding giving assistance to organisations who have suffered a significant loss of income or those forced to close their doors. Restaurants, cafes, gyms, beauty salons, dentists and homeware stores will receive the one-time cash payment. Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln Police put local drivers on notice, and a revived solar project in Port Augusta updates locals on its progress. Welcome back. Port Lincoln Police have had a busy week, with 11 drivers nabbed with drugs in their system. Authorities say they're disappointed, warning other motorists not to make the same mistake.
Police left shaking their heads, frustrated the road safety message isn't getting through.
It's always disappointing when someone thinks that they can drive whilst they're under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
11 Port Lincoln motorists have been accused of drug driving in the past week. Police say it's just not good enough.
I think the message has been repeated time and time again that these substances do impair your ability to drive and are a major cause of serious and fatal collisions.
Patrols left horrified after a female driver allegedly blew a staggering 6 times over the legal limit on Saturday. It's understood a toddler was strapped in the back seat at the time.
You could actually kill people because of your selfishness.
Port Lincoln's mayor joining the chorus of criticism, saying those flouting the road rules are putting lives at risk.
If you want to be selfish, if you want to take drugs and drink and drive, then there's really no place for you in our society as it is today.
It's been a horrific 2 weeks for the nation's police force, South Australian officers losing one of their own in a tragic crash in Adelaide.
None of us here in SAPOL, especially here in Western Local Service area, are immune to the effects of that.
One of the things that we don't want to see is to see our first responders being in a position where they're going to be severely injured or killed.
Patrols warning motorists to drive safe or get caught.
We are doing random testing, we are pulling drivers over, we are doing alcohol testing and drug testing.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Mother's Day celebrations in South Australia have been given the green light to go ahead this weekend, as long as strict social distancing is maintained. The relaxing of regulations follow the state going nearly a fortnight without any new coronavirus cases. The state's chief public health officer has urged families to use common sense when gathering with family this Sunday and maintain good hygiene and distance. So far, 98% of cases in South Australia have recovered, with just 7 cases still active. Staff at the Whyalla Hospital have created specific pathways for patients to get to the different departments during the COVID-19 pandemic. Patients are now encouraged to access the new eco-urology unit through the main car park and follow the signs. Access to it via the main corridor is now for staff and inpatients only. Stage 2 of the renal redevelopment is also underway. However, access to the renal car park is now restricted. Drivers can still drop off renal patients, but will not be able to park. Port Augusta's newest renewable energy site could begin construction as soon as next year. Owners of the Silicon Aurora project say they're targeting a start date within the next 18 months.
It's the revival of the failed solar Aurora project. And whilst there's no shovels in the ground, the Silicon Aurora CEO says the company has been working hard to get the project up and running.
We've been engaging with stakeholders and pulling together the engineering technology bit so we can actually package it as a very economical and feasible solution to the renewable industry.
She's confident the completed site will benefit the nation.
It's in our mission to bring more reliable and cheaper electricity to all Australians.
And says there's many other benefits rolling off the renewable energy.
Due to the fact that our side product, the product of test, is also heat, which is emission free. Therefore, we can attract industry to the places where gas is not available.
Local jobs are expected to be created, with the company turning to local businesses.
We have re-engaged local contractor to make sure that the monitoring station is measuring the solar array up to the highest standard.
And if all goes to plan, work could begin as soon as Christmas next year.
Well, we are committed by development approval, and the deadline is 21st of December 2021.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. We talk to the Port Augusta business helping the elderly during the coronavirus pandemic. And golf, the sport of choice in Broken Hill. A local Port Augusta business has been opening their doors earlier to help those in need. Golf and Rangers optometrists dedicating 2 hours for their elderly patients, allowing them to get checked in secure conditions.
Focusing their attention on elderly residents, Golf and Rangers optometrists are the latest business to make time for elderly customers.
Get them in and out and sorted and completely before there was a chance of another soul coming into the practice, and making sure that everything was obviously sterilised pre and post that to make it as safe as possible for them.
The first 2 hours of the morning dedicated to their needs. Disinfectant and sanitiser also a priority throughout the day.
You don't know where the people have been that come in, so that we can keep everything clean for ourselves as well.
The team also splitting into 2 groups, covering the morning and afternoon.
And what we actually do is have from 1 o'clock to 1:40 we have the practice closed, we completely clean it down again, and we leave, and then our afternoon team comes in and takes over from 1:40.
Management confident these measures will help minimise the risk of coronavirus.
We don't want to be in a situation where we couldn't provide care, which is obviously needed, because a family member or someone had been exposed.
Staff say their actions have been well received.
Customers are really happy that we're doing that, and they're being really patient, which we're really appreciative of, if they have to just stand and wait for a few minutes while we make sure that everything's clean for them to come in.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
UniSA have teamed up with a Whyalla childcare centre to provide extra help for children with high sensory needs. Occupational therapy students have started a 9-week placement, giving them hands-on experience.
Excited to start working with the children at Community Manu, these 4th-year occupational therapy students are ready to dive into student learning.
We preference to come out here to Whyalla to get some regional experience.
With the centre home to a number of children with high sensory needs, staff are doing what they can to prepare the children for primary school.
It's really good to engage with the uni because they have the students have the most up-to-date knowledge and the most relevant knowledge.
We're working collaboratively with the staff, the families and the children here at Community Manu, but we're also keen to get some more community engagement through other services.
Here for 9 weeks, the students will work closely with the children in a bid to understand their learning capabilities.
Throughout our placement, we're going to be producing a weekly progress report.
The placement also promoting a career in rural South Australia, and with this tight-knit community guiding them, they already feel at home.
I'm actually from Port Pirie, so it's great to be back out in the country after having to move to Adelaide for uni.
Locals can keep up to date with their journey online.
So you can either jump on the Facebook page, so the Community Manu Facebook page to get in contact with us, or just call the centre and they can pop you through to us.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Memberships at the Broken Hill Golf Course have surged as local sport lovers try to get their fix. Even though there are some restrictions in place, dozens of new players have signed up in recent weeks.
One Sport is back up and running in the Silver City, new players lining up to tee off.
It's been great for us and hopefully we can re-sign them on in the new year.
The local golf course reopened a few weeks ago with recent rain putting it in tip-top shape. While the venue looks enticing, it's only available to members. The club seeing an influx with 15 people signing in just one day recently.
I think word's got around that if we join up as a social member, which is a pretty low price, you can come out and play golf. So I think, it's got around and people have jumped on.
Golfers are not above coronavirus restrictions though. Groups are restricted to just 2 players, there's no sharing clubs, while flags and sand rakes can't be handled. Golf buggies are limited to a player each unless sharing with family members.
We don't want anyone breaking the rules so that we get shut down. We invite anyone to come out and join up and have a hit.
Officials say you don't have to be a full-time player to become a member. Anyone from competitive golfers to amateurs are welcome to join. Thank you very much.
Been good, giving us something to do, come out, fresh air, exercise.
The golf course office is open between 9 and 1 on weekdays. Patrick Ryanke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We check the day's local finance news and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again. Time for a look at how some of our local shares performed today. And it was another day of mostly green across the board. Santos was one of the day's stronger performers, up 5%, while Olympic Dam owner BHP was up by over 2%. Elders and Bendigo Bank also having strong days. However, CSL bucked the trend, with its shares down by 0.5%. And the All Ords rose today by 88 points, as the Reserve Bank kept rates at 0.25%. To the weather, and it was a perfect autumn day today, with temperatures nudging 20 degrees in most parts. Here's Britt with the details.
Thank you, John, and good evening. We've enjoyed sunny conditions about the region today, with maximum temperatures hitting the early 20s. Broken Hill a little cooler, reaching just 18 today, but 20 was the top at Port Pirie and Kadina. Port Augusta and Whyalla both reached 21, Woodna and Port Lincoln 22. From the satellite, jet stream cloud crossed the south of South Australia today, but bringing not much rain our way. Skies remained clear elsewhere under a broad high pressure system and dry air mass. The only downside to those clear skies, we are in for a cold night. In the morning, northerly winds about the Gulf at 10 to 15 knots, with seas at 1 metre. Mostly sunny at Port Lincoln tomorrow, looking at a top of 23 degrees. Cleve also 23, with strong winds and areas of raised dust about. A top of 25 at Woodna, with winds expected to reach up to 45 kilometres an hour in the afternoon. A mostly sunny morning at Whyalla tomorrow, with strong winds and raised dust in the afternoon and early evening, 24 the high. Dusty conditions at Port Augusta in the afternoon, also 24. Kadina mostly sunny with strong winds in the late morning, 22 the top there. A little calmer about the mid-north. Port Pirie mostly sunny with a top of 23. Similar conditions at Clare, 20. Broken Hill bright and sunny, warming up to a top of 23 degrees. Looking further through the week now, showers about the west coast and the York Peninsula on Thursday, with strong winds expected at Broken Hill, looking mostly fine elsewhere. Maximums in the early to mid-20s, apart from Broken Hill, where it's forecast to reach 27 degrees. Friday, sunny at Broken Hill, a little cooler though, with a top of 23. Maximums in the early 20s elsewhere, with showers expected about the York and Lower Eyre Peninsulas, as well as the west coast. More showers about on Saturday, with the Flinders, Broken Hill and Eastern Eyre Peninsula districts remaining dry. Maximum temperatures in the late teens across the region. And John, that's all from me.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, have a great evening. Good night.